Is it possible? I'm going to try. Is it possible to come up with a definition of what good sound sounds like? Last week, I was at the Audio Engineering Society convention in New York, and I interviewed Bob Clearmountain. Great interview. I will link to it directly below. But when I asked him that question, so Bob, can you define what good sound sounds like? He didn't have a problem with that, because a lot of people do. It's not easy to come up with something. But he said, good sound is something that's inspiring. And when he said that, I never thought of it that way before. He said it's something that makes you feel good. Yeah, that's great. That's what good sound is. He didn't give an audiophile definition, and that's okay, because it's funny, because when he said that, I countered with, well, I love Motown and I find it inspiring, but they're really, nasty, distorted sounding records. And he was like, yeah, don't worry about that. They feel good. They're amazing. They are therefore good sounding recordings. And I like that perspective. But then I asked another friend of mine, another engineer. I wish I could say Bob Clearmountain was my friend. I'd like to be his friend. But anyway, I asked a friend who is an engineer, can you define what good sound sounds like? And he said, one that doesn't distract you as you're listening to it, like, oh man, that treble's killing me, or I can't hear the vocal. Anything that takes you out of the music is bad. And anytime you can listen to music without getting caught up about the way it sounds, that's what makes it good, according to this other guy, right? Good sound is one that you just focus on the music and you're not thinking about the sound. That's way up there. But, I have a more technical, curiously, I'm not the engineer, but I have a more technical definition of what good sounding recordings sound like. Let's say, more audiophile approach. My approach is one that sounds reasonably smooth, not trebly, not bassy, not more or less flat response. One that has natural soundstage where the imaging makes sense. Again, doesn't call attention to itself, just sounds like, yeah, they were just playing together in a room like that, and that's what you hear. I like that. That's another part of my definition of what good sound sounds like. One that is reasonably dynamic, that is not obviously compressed. One that's, quiet and spacious and feels like that there are actual human beings playing together in a room. That's it. That's my definition of good sound, what a good sounding recording sounds like. But it's interesting. All of this I was thinking about this last night, because I was in a mix studio, and I thought that the sound in this studio was really weird, because it was very, very bassy, really boomy, deep, overly bassy sound. I was listening to some familiar recordings, just happened to be playing recordings that I knew, and I was hearing them in a completely different way. And at first I was rejecting it, saying, oh my God, it's so bassy, blah, blah, blah. But then I calmed down, and I was listening to them, let's say, for pleasure. And I was thinking, it's not my taste, but I do kind of like this. I get it. I get it why people like to listen with the bass turned up, or loudness control, whatever, that people want to turn up the bass. And here is this overly bassy monitor system. And I was getting into it. I really was. I said, yeah. And there were a lot of people. It was a party, and there were other people in the room, and they were grooving to it. And I was thinking, who am I to say that this is wrong? Well, I am the one to say it's wrong, because I'm an audio critic. I'm an audio reviewer. It's what I do. I criticize, and I was having this back and forth struggle between criticizing and going with the flow of saying, yeah, hey, people are having a good time. What's the problem here? And you know what? There is no problem. There is no problem, because people should listen to their music any way that makes them happy. Ultimately, that's what it's really all about. And certainly most of the world, last time I checked, are not made up of audiophiles. So we're in this separate, more analytical group that we're always saying this is good, this is bad, we're always boosting things or putting things down because of the way they sound. It's one of those get a life things maybe, right? But so in other words, I zig and I zag here, going back and forth on this as mood strikes. But as always, I want to know what you guys think in terms of, well, back to the original question here. What does good sound like to you? I've done this before, but it's been a while, so I thought I'd bring it up again. What does good sound like to you, and why? What is it that makes it sound good? So what we're circling around here is that no one really knows what a recording sounds like. Not the musicians, not the recording engineer, not the mix engineer, not the mastering engineer. No, because it's going to sound different every time. Every time that recording is played by the engineers that made it, by the musicians who played on it, by the people who are listening to it, streaming it, LP, CD, 8-track cartridge, whatever it is, it's going to sound different every freaking time. The system is different. The environment is different. They're on a plane, they're on a boat, they're on a train, they're at the beach, they're on top of the Empire State Building. It's going to sound really, really different pretty much every time some person listens to it, right? So there is no definitive, that's what this recording is. The people that made it don't know what it is, because what they were listening to isn't the same thing as what you're going to listen to it on, or they're going to listen to it on at home even, right? So there's no there. Which brings us back to the relax concept. Don't be so hung up about getting to the absolute truth of what a recording sounds like. It can't happen. It just can't. And I can't imagine how it ever could. Or even if it could, if that would be a good thing, to tell you the truth. Because people like to mess with the sound of the recordings. People are always listening with the bass turned up. They always are messing with it. They always want it to sound more to their taste anyway. So that's essentially what audiophiles are doing, right? We're building our systems to the extent of what budget allows and domestic situation allows to make it sound the way we want it to sound, right? So again, it's a moving target, this ephemeral sound that comes from music, right? It's like being in a concert hall, right? The sound in the first row versus the sound in the 10th row versus the sound in the 25th row. They're all different. They're all different, right? So I hope that helps. I hope that helps put you at ease. I guess that's why I'm tacking this little bit on, because people get hung up on this stuff. Calm down, relax, enjoy the music. Don't obsess over that it's this or it should be that, because you're never going to get there. Never going to get there. It's totally wasted energy. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am... my name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am the Audiophiliac. So if you dig this thing, please subscribe. Hit that notification thing right down there. Check out my Patreon at patreon.com, or follow me on Twitter at AudiophiliacMan, or check out my Instagram at Steve Guttenberg, steve.guttenberg. You could check out the playlists. There's playlists for speaker reviews and headphone reviews and music reviews and a whole bunch of stuff. Whew, I'm getting tired. My name's Steve Guttenberg, saying goodbye. See you later. Bye.